Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking through some player props I like on Prizepicks for today's NBA slate on Monday, May the 5th. We got two games on Monday night. We got two new series kicking off. We got game one of Celtics and Knicks, and we got game one of Thunder and Nuggets. So, got some new series, some new matchups. I'm going to talk through two early plays that I do like for these two games on Monday night. We are going to give out a prop from each game. So we'll talk about a prop that I do like from Celtics, Knicks, and then we'll talk about a prop I like in Nuggets and Thunder. So two-game slate, guys. Before we do talk through these plays, make sure you guys hit that like button down below. If you do enjoy these Prizepicks videos, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well. And if you guys are new to the channel, and if you are new to Prizepicks, if you don't have a Prizepicks account, be sure to sign up. Use promo code NOAH when you guys sign up for Prizepicks with my promo code and place your first $5 lineup. You're going to get $50 in promo funds instantly added to your account. So this is an easy way to get your bankroll built up on Prizepicks. Use those $50 that they give you and hopefully win some money, which can start to, again, build your bankroll up. So if you guys don't have an account on Prizepicks, use that promo code NOAH when you sign up. And I do also want to shout out Sleeper because we do have a partnership with Sleeper as well. You guys can go sign up for Sleeper. Use promo code NOAH over there. And when you sign up and make your first deposit, you'll get your first deposit matched up to $100. So whatever you put in, Sleeper will match that, give you an additional $100 to play with if you deposit $100. So like if you deposit $100, they'll give you an additional $100. If you deposit $50, they'll give you an additional $50. But whatever you do deposit on your first deposit, you will get that matched up to $100 on Sleeper when you sign up with code NOAH. And for those of you that don't know what Sleeper is, they're just a DFS pick'em app. They're very similar to Prizepicks. You pick more or less on player projections. You build out your lineup. You can make up to an 8-pick lineup on Sleeper. You can win up to 100 extra money. Go check them out, guys. Make sure to, again, use that code NOAH when you sign up for Sleeper. But let's talk about some props, guys, that I do like for today on Monday. Got two plays. Let's see if we can go 2-0 here. It's been kind of a rough stretch lately. We've had a lot of days, we've been giving out like two plays, going 1-1. We've had some days where 0-2, but yeah, hadn't been able to get that 2-0 sweep, but like the two plays we got for Monday, let's see if we can hit both these plays. So we're going to be looking at some fantasy score props on Prizepicks. For those of you that are new to Prizepicks, if you don't know what fantasy score is, you can just click scoring chart. You can see how fantasy points are calculated. It's really simple, really self-explanatory. And for those of you that aren't on Prizepicks, if you don't have access to fantasy score, I will give some props that I like, alternative props to fantasy score for those of you that can't take fantasy score. But if you can take fantasy score, that's what I would recommend taking. The first prop that I like is going to be Josh Hart for more than 32 fantasy score. So Josh Hart, if we look at what he did in the Pistons series, obviously this is a completely different matchup, but in their series against the Pistons, he did go over this fantasy score line in 3 out of 6 games. 2 of the games he went under by a point or less. There was a game he went under, he had 31.4, and then last game he went under, he had 31. And then there was another game he went under, he had 27.9. But like if you look at the games where Hart went under, game 1 he went under and he only played 30 minutes. He was limited by I think some early foul trouble in that game. And then he went under in game 2, did play 40 minutes, just wasn't very productive, 27.9 fantasy points. And then game 6 he did go under, but I believe that was another game where he was in foul trouble. He had 5 fouls. Only played, and I say this in quotation marks, only played 35 minutes. Josh Hart, this is a player that really throughout his career, really ever since he joined the Knicks, he has been a guy that has been able to play really big minutes. And especially in the playoffs last season, I mean, we were seeing Josh Hart play like 40-plus minutes every single game. There were even some games where he played the entire game and he didn't sit at all. Last season in the playoffs, Josh Hart averaged 42.2 minutes per game. So far in the playoffs this season, he's averaged 37.2 minutes per game, but his minutes have been cut down because of some foul trouble. Hart, typically a player, though, that doesn't get into foul trouble too often. I mean, he's a guy that has only averaged, I want to say he's averaged like 2 fouls per game this year. Let me see. He's averaged, if I can find it, I think he's averaged like close to maybe 2.5 fouls per game. Like he's just not a guy that really gets in foul trouble too often. So him getting in foul trouble a lot in that Detroit series, I think is just kind of an outlier and it's a fluke and it's not something that we should expect to continue to happen. And when Josh Hart's not in foul trouble, he's going to play probably 40 minutes, if not over 40 minutes. I think the one thing you do have to worry about is that, Boston's playing at home here. Boston has played really well against the Knicks. I think the Knicks are 0-4 against the Celtics this year. Like, the Knicks just can't beat this team. And maybe the Celtics come out here and blow them out in game one. I think the Celtics are favored by like 9.5. That would be my one concern, is that this game is a blowout. But even when the Knicks get blown out, like, they still play these guys like 35, 36 minutes. If the game's competitive, I mean, Josh Hart's playing like 40-plus minutes. Now, the matchup against the Celtics, obviously not the greatest. I mean, the Celtics are a good defensive team. But in the playoffs, you're not going to have good matchups. I mean, all these teams are good defensively. You're not really going to find many good matchups in the playoffs. But what we do know we're going to get from Josh Hart is a bunch of minutes. And he's a guy that typically averages about a fantasy point per minute when he's on the floor. This season, he averaged a fantasy point per minute, exactly 1 fantasy point per minute. In the playoffs so far, in their series against Detroit, he averaged 0.97 fantasy points per minute. So, right around 1 fantasy point per minute. You give me 40 to 42 minutes from Josh Hart, I feel pretty good about him getting 32 fantasy points, even in kind of a tougher matchup against the Celtics. And if you do want to look at what Hart did against the Celtics this season, he wasn't bad. I mean, he was actually pretty good against Boston. He played 4 games against Boston, had 20.3, 34.1, 44.7, and 41.7 fantasy score. And the game where he went under, where he had 20.3, he only played 25 minutes in that game. I assume maybe it looks like it wasn't foul trouble. Or actually, I think that game was a blowout. Hart only played 25 minutes. So, like, you give me 36, 38 minutes from Hart, even in a tougher matchup here. I think we can get 32 fantasy points. I think 36 to 38 minutes is kind of like a floor for him, and there's definitely a chance he plays over 40 minutes if the game's competitive. Just a guy that does everything when he's on the floor. So he's someone that has always been good from a fantasy point per minute standpoint because he can just do everything. Like, he can score a little bit, he can rebound really well, he can get some assists. He's also pretty good at getting defensive stats, steals and blocks. You get 3 points for steals and blocks. So, like, that is our first play for today. Josh Hart, we're going to take for more than 32 fantasy score. And if you're looking for an alternative prop on Hart, I think definitely my second favorite play on him would be more than 25 PRA. I think I like fantasy score a little bit more just because Hart can get steals and blocks, but I definitely think PRA looks solid as well. I mean, for what it's worth, Hart's over his PRA line in all of his last 4 games. Fantasy score, he's actually only over that in 3 of his last 4 games. Obviously, the game he went under on fantasy, he went under by 1 point. He was really close, but yeah, I think PRA, taking more than 25 PRA is definitely a fine alternative to fantasy score if you can't take that. But the next prop that I like in the Nuggets and Thunder game, we're going to take Isaiah Hartenstein for more than 26 fantasy score. Now, Isaiah Hartenstein in their series against Memphis only went over this line in 2 out of 4 games. But a lot of those games were, they had a lot of blowouts in that series. Memphis just really wasn't able to hang with OKC much at all. OKC was just blowing them out. I think game 2 when he went under, pretty sure that was a blowout. They won that game by like 19 points. Game 3, he only had 15 fantasy points in game 3, but he also, I believe, got into some early foul trouble. I'm pretty sure he had 3 fouls in the first half of that game. He was really good in game 1, was really good in game 4. And Hartenstein, is another player that's just productive when he's on the floor. Now, minutes are kind of the question for Hartenstein. He was a guy, like we saw during the regular season, he was playing pretty big minutes, especially at the beginning of the season when Chet Holmgren was out. But then when they got Chet Holmgren back, the minutes on Hartenstein weren't as high, but he was still playing like 25 to 26 minutes most nights. Some nights he'd get around 30 minutes. This matchup against Denver, I think, is one where they're going to want Hartenstein out there. They're going to want his size against Nikola Jokic. They could definitely let Chet Holmgren guard Jokic, but I feel like they're probably going to want Hartenstein out there kind of as much as possible. And during the regular season, we did see these two teams play twice in the regular season. And in those games, Hartenstein did play 31 minutes and 26 minutes. So his minutes were fairly good in those games. And one of the games was a blowout. They won one of the games by 24. The other game they lost by 13. But the minutes were pretty good for Hartenstein in this series, in these two teams, when they played during the regular season. Both those games were with Chet Holmgren as well. If we're going to get like 25, 26 minutes from Hartenstein, which kind of feels like a floor for him, feel pretty good about him getting 26 fantasy points. Again, this is a guy that has shown an ability to be productive when he gets minutes. So far this season with the Thunder, he's averaged 1.21 fantasy points per minute. He's a guy that averages well over a fantasy point per minute. And so far in the playoffs, he's averaged 1.19 fantasy points per minute. So right around what he was doing during the regular season. So I do like this play on Hartenstein, more than 26 fantasy score. I also think the matchup for him is fairly decent. Denver You think of Denver as being kind of a tough matchup for centers, but Denver was a team that gave up a lot of points in the paint. I think they gave up the 5th most points in the paint during the regular season. So far in the playoffs, they're giving up the most points in the paint. Denver is definitely a team you can beat, like around the rim. They don't have great rim protection like Jokic. He's not the best like shot blocker. He's definitely a guy that can make mistakes on the defensive end. So I do like the spot for Hartenstein. I think the minutes are going to be there too because I think they want him out there to guard Jokic. Obviously, foul trouble could be a concern. If he has to guard Jokic, that does bring some foul trouble risk. But if he avoids fouls, he's probably playing 25, 26 minutes at the least. And I definitely think there's a chance he gets like 30-plus minutes in this spot. So give me more than 26 fantasy score on Isaiah Hartenstein is our second play for today. And again, if you don't have access to fantasy score, I think my next favorite prop on Hartenstein would probably be taking more than 21.5 PRA. But there's a couple different props that you could look at. Again, this is a matchup where I think Hartenstein is going to have the ability to score just because Denver has been vulnerable, giving up points in the paint. For what it's worth, in their 2 games against Denver during the regular season, Hartenstein did have 10 points and 20 points in those 2 games. So if you want to look at like more than 9 points on Hartenstein, I'm totally fine with that as an alternative to fantasy score. I think more than 21.5 PRA looks pretty solid as well. I think those are probably my 2 favorite plays on Hartenstein. Maybe you could look at like his PR at 18.5, but I think honestly I like PRA a little bit more. Hartenstein's typically a guy that can get some assists. He's actually been a pretty decent facilitator throughout his career. I know his assist prop is set at 3.5. It's a demon line, but he probably gets like at least 2 or 3 assists. Obviously with the PR and the PRA being 3 apart, you kind of want him to get at least 3 assists, if not more than 3 assists. You could look at both those props, PR, PRA on Hartenstein. But I think it's just a really good spot for Hartenstein. I think the minutes are going to be there, and he's a player that I do like to kind of exceed his projections on Monday night. So that's what I'm liking, guys, is our 2 props for Monday. We're going to take Josh Hart for more than 32 fantasy score and Isaiah Hartenstein for more than 26 fantasy score. So we got 2 plays. See if we can go 2-0 here on these 2 plays, guys, and make some money on this Monday night slate. Cinco de Mayo. So if you're going to be celebrating Cinco de Mayo, watching some games, hopefully we can win some money here tonight. But appreciate you guys watching these videos. As always, appreciate your support. Make sure you guys hit that like button down below if you do enjoy these videos. Hit that subscribe button as well. And if you guys are new to the channel, if you are new to Prizepicks, if you don't have an account over there, use that promo code NOAH when you sign up for Prizepicks. And again, when you play $5, you're going to get $50 instantly added to your account. Easy way to build up that bankroll. Check out Prizepicks if you have not yet. But good luck, guys. Let's make some money tonight. I'll see you in the next video.